Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Bundesliga Career Mode. This is the 34th episode of the series, and we start today's episode off with a youth squad monthly report, a squad report, and look at the league table as well. But I do want to say guys, before we get into today's gameplay, that I read some of the comments on the past couple episodes, and some of you guys were understandably frustrated after the fact that we beat Barcelona by 3-0. We followed that on with a 3-0 victory over Bayern Munich, and some of you guys were commenting stuff like, oh, you know, you're too good at the game, and it's not a challenge anymore, and it's too easy, and stuff like this. And guys, I want to say I totally understand where you're coming from, and I do understand why it can be a little bit frustrating when you want to watch me struggle a bit more, and once I get a relatively decent team, I can beat those sort of sides. But I want to say this to remind you, first and foremost, Valente was insane in the first game, and we only won the game 3-0 because of him. He got a 9.9 for goodness sake. And secondly, my gameplay was authentic, and my gameplay is genuine, and I don't want to change that at all. So some of you guys were suggesting stuff like, why not use sliders and make it more difficult? Well, if I start doing stuff like that, it means that there's no reason why you have to trust me each time to make sure the sliders are on the exact same setting. When you play Legendary, you know you're playing the exact same game as I'm playing on Legendary. If I start using sliders, it's custom gameplay. And I think a lot of people like watching me because they know that when I can do those sort of challenges like Saving Brainy Experiment, it motivates them to try Legendary if they've not tried it before, or try get better if they're struggling on it or something. If I start using sliders and make the gameplay custom, even though it could potentially be perceived as being more difficult, it's no longer authentic gameplay, it's a custom difficulty, okay? So I don't want to do that. I understand it's a good suggestion, and I want to say, you know, first and foremost, thank you if you did suggest using sliders. It's not the first time, it won't be the last. I understand where you're coming from, but for me, a big reason as to why I think a lot of people watch me is the authenticity behind my gameplay. And what I'm able to do with my squads on the highest difficulty setting is why a lot of people enjoy watching my stuff, because they think it's pretty interesting and they want to do the same sort of stuff. So I understand why some of you guys have been quite frustrated, but first and foremost, keep in mind that my goalkeeper was insane for the first game. We're not going to win all of these games against all these big sides 3-0. And secondly, I do believe in authenticity. I do believe in genuine gameplay, presenting that as it is. No sliders being touched, and that's what you see with me every single game, every single episode, and that's how it's always going to be. So again, I apologize if you were disappointed by the fact we won those games, what seemed to be pretty comfortably, even though they weren't, but hopefully you understand exactly why, you know, this is how it is, and I want to keep it this way.
Well, he really could be the star of the show today.
Must be loving the season so far. He's got 15, top scorer.
And now that's out of the way, we come into the first game of today's episode here as we take on Red Bull Leipzig away from home in the Bundesliga. Now this side right now are bottom of the table, so you'd fancy our chances of winning this game pretty comfortably, but it is worth noting that this side were very close to becoming the first side to beat us at the Volkspark Stadion in the Bundesliga this season, and well, ever since I took over really, as they were winning the game by 1-0, but Correa scored us a stoppage time equaliser to get us a draw in that game and ensure that our long home undefeated streak in the league is still ongoing. So we do that game 1-1, so coming to this game, despite the league positions between two sides being very different, us being in second and then being bottom of the table, I was still feeling a little bit nervous, but just 3 minutes in, what a fantastic start, because Lucas Klosterman took down Angel Correa and we won ourselves a penalty pretty much directly from kickoff. I found a gap in their defense, played it through to the Argentine, took it round number 16, and as you can see, there is no debate for this penalty. He took down Correa, didn't get any of the ball, and the referee gives a certain penalty. So penalty to Hamburg. We won one against Werder Bremen, and Cesar Valente will stand up and take that one. He scored that to make it 2-1 as we went on to win that game by 2-1. Could he open the scoring in this game and settle the nerves early on and make it 2-2? Of course he could. Cesar Valente is yet to miss a penalty in a Hamburg shirt, and that wait is going to continue. He scores once again, makes it Red Bull Leipzig 0, Hamburg 1. It's his third goal of the season, his second in 2, and again, Valente is getting more threatening now, because I feel as though we're able to win more penalties due to Correa being so nimble on his feet and getting taken down quite often around the edge of the area and sometimes in it as well. So Valente expected to score more penalties. I think this is his third this season now, and expecting to score more. I think he'll probably hit 4, 5, possibly even 6 goals before the season is over. It's a lot to ask for with 10 games to go, but Correa just keeps on getting fouled. It's ridiculous. But still, we were up in this game by 1-0. Valente scoring, making it 1-0. Great to see. Then the 21st minute here, Galaxy had to deny this header from going in and keep it at 1-0 to Hamburg. On a stroke at half-time mark, they had their first chance of the half as Klosterman, who gave away the penalty, went down the right-hand side, crossed it into the centre. We failed to deal with it properly, and Selke had a great chance to make it 1-0 here, but failed to hit the target, and a number 27 shot goes wide of the post. So at the break, as you could see, we were leading the game by a goal to nil, playing pretty well, but in the second half, not much was really happening until 10 minutes before the end. Red Bull Leipzig pushed way too many bodies forward, gave the ball away. Yannick Gerhardt and Angel Correa played the ball between one another. Gerhardt released the Argentine striker, going through one-on-one. This time he wasn't taken down, but he found the back of the net and made it Red Bull Leipzig 0, Hamburg 2. So Correa scores his second in 2 games, and he was having a little bit of a streak where he wasn't scoring goals at all. He went on a bit of a mini goal drought, really. I think it was 4 or possibly 5 games without a goal. Well, now he scored 2 in 2. He's back to his usual self, and Correa gets goal number 16 for this season. So he was played through by Gerhardt there. It was a 3-on-1 situation. I could have gone either way, but I only had eyes for Correa. Of course, I was going to release our top scorer. 16 goals in the Bundesliga. That's now double what Dermich ended up with last season. What a decision it's been to bring him to the Volkspark Stadion. He has been absolutely fantastic. So Red Bull Leipzig 0, Hamburg 2. And in the 89th minute here, we gave away a corner. Hoffmann headed it behind 4-1, and Galaxy came charging forward, the Hungarian sprinting forward towards our penalty area. And I was thinking, why bother, mate? You're 2-0 down. Your team was barely attacked in the second half. You're surely not going to lead a late charge here, but he came forward for it regardless, got himself inside the area. It was crossed into the centre. Valente claimed it, as per usual. Casual, simple catch for the Brazilian. He dribbles out of the box, gives it to Fabinho. Fabinho plays it through towards Angel Correa, and as you can see, with the goalkeeper charging back to his goal, he can't get back in time. Correa takes his time, finesses the ball past him into the open goal, and with just 30 seconds of stoppage time to go, Correa gets his second goal of the game and makes it Red Bull Leipzig 0, Hamburg 3, as he runs to celebrate with the away fans once again. So 3-0 to Hamburg, a fantastic win for us, and a really, really awesome result, and a deserving win once again. And right now, our streak has been fantastic. 3 of our last 4 wins have been by 3 goals to nil. We are great both on attack and in defence as well. We've been fantastic over the past few weeks, and right now, you know, as I said before, this Bundesliga title race, it certainly isn't over. There's no doubt about that at all. Bayern Munich, after beating them by 3 goals to nil in the last game, the last episode I should say, 2 games ago, you know, we showed to them that we can challenge them for their crown this season. And the only problem we have is that as we win these games and we do really well and we perform to our maximum, really, we can always see that come the end of the game when we go around the ground, Bayern Munich just refused to slip up. I mean, the last game, yes, they drew with Schalke 2-2, but other than that, they seem to win literally all the time. And it's really frustrating because I'm doing everything I can to keep us in this title race. We've been on an incredible run of form of late. It's been extraordinary, but they just refuse to give up. They just refuse to slip up and let us get closer to them. Right now, we're still behind them by 3 points. And don't get me wrong, I discussed it at the end of the last episode. You know, come the end of that episode, had results gone their way and not our way, they could have been 14 points clear. So to have only a gap of 3 points between us now, that's still pretty impressive. But I keep thinking to myself, it doesn't matter how many times I win and how well I play, because Bayern Munich just won't slip up. We're not going to win the championship because they're just too good and just too composed and just don't seem to lose concentration and end up losing games in succession. But still, it was Hamburg 3, I should say Red Bull Leipzig 0, Hamburg 3 in that game. Another really good win for us and another fantastic result and a really good display by every single player on the pitch. So 3-0 the final score. We take on Augsburg though for our second and final game of today's episode here back at the Volkspark Stadion. Desperate to keep our title charge alive as the season is coming towards its close. The first half it was 0-0, a pretty balanced first half, but in the second half just past the hour mark here, we played the ball through to Diekmeyer down the right hand side. He crossed the ball into the centre, and I mean the guy is just unbelievable, isn't he? Angel Correa scores once again, and he scored quite a few nice goals this season. That's now his 17th goal in the Bundesliga this year, and I think this one is the best of the bunch. And he scored a couple of nice goals. The late equaliser against Red Bull Leipzig at the Volkspark Stadion in the first half of the season was particularly nice, but this one, in my opinion, is the best. What a fantastic ball by Diekmeyer off the bench down the right hand side, picks out Correa with the overhead kick, and this was just beautiful. I don't score too many overhead kicks in FIFA this year, but I mean the guy is just unstoppable. He's the unstoppable Argentine. You know, he's absolutely fantastic. fantastic. He really is awesome, and no defense seems to have an answer for him because he went like 4 games without scoring, like I discussed in the last episode. But now he's back within his groove, he's back in form, and once again he's unstoppable again. He's incredible. It's Hamburg 1, Augsburg 0, and in a frustrating game as well where I was struggling to carve out too many chances. Those type of players can prove to be the difference when you're struggling to get the goals you need, when you're struggling to find a way to break down a defense. The ability to pull off that type of thing and, you know, not just attempt it, but to score it as well. I mean, that proves why these sort of players can be so valuable. These heroes, if you would, I have in my sides, they prove why they are so important because, you know, not many players would attempt that, let alone score it. And the ability to do something so, you know, ambitious, so, I suppose, charismatic, something which just requires so much flair. Those moments right there can win you games single-handedly. They can change a game, they can change the complexion of a game, they can change the complexion of a season. They are so important, and those players can be so indispensable. So we're so glad that this season we bought Correa, because for £11.5 million, when he's capable of winning us games in games like these where we had to grind out a 1-0 victory to produce that one moment of magic to win us that game. I mean, I've ran out of words to describe Correa already, but he's the unstoppable Argentine, and this game proved it. In a game where he was becoming isolated, frustrated, just one moment, just one cross into the box, he was able to turn it into something absolutely spectacular with the overhead kick past the goalkeeper as we win the game by 1-0. So final score, Hamburg 1, Augsburg 0. A moment of magic from the unstoppable Argentine wins us the game and still keeps us 3 points behind Bayern with 8 games to go, and the title race is still definitely on. But that is going to today's episode of the Bundesliga career mode, guys, so a big thank you for watching the video. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do consider leaving a like. It's of course much appreciated and really help the channel grow as well. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Bundesliga career mode very soon.